Hello children, welcome to the online class of English language for class 9th. In today's video, we are going to deal with the topic of active and passive voice, that is chapter 9 of your English language book. Active and passive voice. Active voice and passive voice refers to the form of verb. In the active voice, the subject of the verb is a person or thing doing the action. So we see children that in the active voice, the subject is the doer of the action. For example, Naveen cooked the food. In the passive voice, action is done to the subject. I told you in the active voice, the subject is the doer of the action, and in the passive voice, the subject is the receiver of an action. For example, the food was cooked by Naveen. Now we come to the form of passive voice. So how are we going to form active to passive voice? Passive verbs can be formed in the following way. So this is a way how you are going to turn the active voice to the passive voice. 1. A tense of to be plus past participle. So first and foremost, I would like to explain you past participle. What is past participle? It is actually the form of the verb which helps in forming the perfect tense. We always put ed to the past participle. Active, he washes, has washed, will wash the clothes. He was washing the clothes. Now this sentence we are going to turn into passive voice. The clothes are, have been, will be washed by him. The clothes are, were being washed by him. Now we come to the second point. Model plus be oblique have been plus past participle. I already told you children what is past participle. Now I will tell you what is model. Model words are the words which helps to express command, request, permission, probability, obligation. So the example of the models are shall, will, must, may, might, can, could, should. So when these words come, immediately it should click to you that these words are the model. Now this is the active voice. He may wash, have washed the clothes. Now turn it into passive. The clothes may be, have been washed by him. Now we come to the third one. Infinitive to be oblique to have been plus past participle. Now again we come back to whatever you must have learnt in your previous class. This is just a flashback. Infinitive. What do you mean by infinitive? Infinitives actually are the base form of the verbs. The base form of the verbs are called infinitives. Example, eat, drink, play, watch, dance. All these words are infinitive, and we can also put to before these infinitives. Active, he was to wash the clothes. Passive, the clothes are to be, were to have been washed by him. So in front of the basic word you put the to. That becomes the bare infinitive. It is known as a bare infinitive. Now we come to the next point. ing form, being, having been plus past participle. All of you know children what is ing. When we put ing to the base word, it becomes a continuous. Active, washing, having washed. Passive, being, having been washed. Now we come to the transitive and intransitive verb. So this transitive verbs plays a very important role in the active voice. Passive voice occurs only with the verbs used transitively. That is verb that can be followed by an object. So what is a transitive verb, children? Transitive verb is a verb which has got an object. Example, someone beat him yesterday. Passive, he was beaten by someone yesterday. Direct and indirect object. Verbs like give and bring, which can have two objects, can have two passive forms. So a sentence that is the active voice which has got two objects will also have the two passive forms. Active. He gave her a pen. He gave her a pen. So her here is an indirect object and pen is a direct object. Passive. She was given a pen by him. The other way round you can put the sentences. A pen was given to her by him. Uses of passive voice. First one is spontaneous and deliberate use of passive voice. Spontaneous is on the spot. You don't even realize what you are speaking, but immediately it comes out from your mouth. So this can be done only when you have a fluent English. In fluent English, passive forms occurs naturally and spontaneously without a conscious change from active to passive. Active equivalent would be hard to use for a sentence like Rome was not built in a day. The origin of the universe will probably never be explained. So these are spontaneously that comes out from your mouth. You don't even realize what you're speaking, but if you have got a fluent English, it will just come out from your mouth. Passive voice is used especially when speaker do not wish to commit themselves to action. So when do we use a passive voice? When the speaker do not wish to commit themselves to the action, opinion or statement of fact which they are not sure. Hundreds of magazines are published every month. The matter will be handled firmly. Passive voice often offers a useful way of expressing something impersonally. So when we talk about the passive voice, we should know, children, that it also expresses something impersonally. We don't have to personalize that sentence. It is hoped that, for people hope that. It is said that, for people say that. This passive form is often found in reports. Now we come to the next point. Passive voice for focus. We use passive voice when we wish to focus on a happening which is more important to us than who or what causes the happening, or when there is simply no need to mention the doer. So very important, children. We also use the passive voice for focusing on the event. It is not important that who is responsible for the event, who caused the event, but it is just important about the happening of an event. Our roof was damaged in the storm. Avoid vague words as subjects. Passive voice is used when we wish to avoid using a vague word as a subject. Example, someone, a person, etc. So in the passive voice, we avoid using the vague words. That is not very definite. Rather, it is not very important to mention. After my lecture, I was asked to explain a point. Passive voice is used when the subject is an indefinite pronoun. So when we talk about the indefinite pronoun, we use the passive form like one. The form has to be signed. Not one has to sign the form. So the form has to be signed. It can be signed by anyone. So that is the reason it is avoiding the vague subjects, because somebody, someone, anyone can do it. Is nothing is definite over here in this sentence. Passive voice is obligatory in notices. So, children, this year you also have notice writing, and you know that in notice writing we always use the passive form. So, with this, I end my lecture. I hope, children, everything is explained to you properly. If any queries, you're almost always welcome to contact me on WhatsApp classes. Thank you.